Welcome to This Week in Baseball Player Profiles as we profile former campus high school player Tanner Leslie, who now is committed to Butler County. Thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you for having me.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing very good, actually.
Well, I want to thank you for coming in, taking some time out of your day during I guess, Christmas break to come in and answer some questions and talk about some baseball.
Yep.
I appreciate that. So let's start off with your junior year. Your state champs.
Yep.
Campus. First time they won in
1991.
91. How was that feeling to be the state champ?
It was insane, actually. We kind of went in, we were the 1 seed. We had like a really, really good year. I just came from a 13-inning game at our regional championship, so we were all still trying to get together after that. And then after discussing who we were going to have for the lineup and matched up with what arms were thrown for them, we kind of came together and we just rocked and rolled. We had such a good chemistry. I didn't think anything could stop us.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so that led into you winning the 6A Gatorade Player of the Year for the state of Kansas. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I want you to know that. I know we had Jared Gates here a couple shows ago. He played at University of Arkansas. What was that like, being the Player of the Year for 6A for state of Kansas?
It honestly, a lot of it had to do with the chemistry of our team. I mean, obviously, baseball is an individual type game. You have to put pieces together, obviously, to win as a team. But whether it being 0 for 3 in the batter's box, being 3 for 3 in the batter's box, our team was always up at the top of the dugout, always, chattering, all that stuff to the pitcher. Whether it was a fly out to the outfield to score a run or a double to start an inning, our team was right there to gather around. So it was pretty good. So,
missing out on your senior year.
Yeah.
And you were probably favored to be the 6A Player of the Year again, to be honest with you. What was that like, missing out on a chance to defend your title?
It sucked because not only were we returning almost every starter we had one coming up that was replacing the big spot at shortstop. But other than that, every other person had varsity experience. Like, we had pitching, we had the hitting, we had the fielding. Like, we had the chance to go 25-0 again. So
right.
After 2 or 3 weeks of practice that we weren't coming back after spring break, it hit really hard.
Right. I know Derby and your boy Grant Adler wanted a piece of you guys. They felt like they had a strong chance at taking you. What's that rivalry like? Because that's your biggest rivalry.
Yeah.
Is Derby. What is that like, that rivalry between you two?
It was just always a game that was always going to be close. No matter if we were way more skilled than them or they were way more skilled than us. It was always going to be that 4-3, 3-2. It was going to be a very, very close ball game. It happened to be that we faced Adler 3 times my junior year, and it was probably going to be another 2 or 3 times if we faced them again in the regionals or state finals again. But for sure, that rivalry is definitely there.
Right, and it's a fun rivalry.
Yeah.
But I know in other sports, it can get a little bit more chippier. I would say,
sure.
like in basketball.
Yeah.
Football.
Not so much, but
yeah, Derby kind of runs that.
Yep.
Okay, so I kind of compare it to, I don't know if it's as big as the Holy War, but I know Derby and campus battle.
Yeah, it's definitely
like that K-State KU. I mean, it doesn't matter whether KU in basketball is better than K-State. It'll always be super close.
Super close, right?
Yep.
Everybody circles that on their calendar, gets ready to roll.
Yep.
Okay. Good news for you was last year, in my opinion, was instead of playing high school summer ball, you had an opportunity to play with the Rose Hill Sluggers college team.
Yes, I did.
What was that experience like for you? How did that help you to get ready for the season?
It was very eye-opening. Of course, going from high school to college, it was a huge change. The first couple of games, the game is faster. The arms are better. You're not going to get those little weak ground outs to beat it out at first because their arms are stronger. And just being around the guys, just listening to them. We had a couple other outfielders that I listened to, pitching-wise. Deeper into counts, you don't just leave it over. Just trying to get fastballs past them because being the guy to throw 90, 91, I mean, that's not just going to blow past them anymore. It's not high school ball. So being able to hit the outside corner, the inside corner, high, low, it definitely helped.
Right. And you had 2 good catchers back there. You had Ross Cadena and you had Zach Baxley that were able to help you along on the pitching side of things.
Yes.
Were they good good mentors to help you to get ready for the season?
So especially after
After every inning they'd come, they'd do their perspective on what they were seeing with the batters, whether they were stepping out, stepping in or off the plate. And they kind of just had a feel, obviously, because they've been in it for a couple years. So they had knew that in an 0-2 count, you're not going to try to throw a high fastball. You're bouncing one in either, you're throwing one way outside. You're not giving them anything to hit. So it was also just a whole bunch of stuff in the head that just I took in going into Butler.
So speaking of Butler, did you translate that into Butler, playing for this fall, and how's that going for you?
Especially because in the fall we didn't get to play outside competition, so all we did was inter squad. We threw a lot of bullpens, and we just did a bunch of meshing between the two, because at the start of the fall we could only have sectional groups, so there would be outfielders would go at one time, infielders would go at one time, hitters. So it was kind of a cluster, but towards the end of the fall we all came together, and putting everything into one piece was definitely it helped.
Do you think playing in the college league, I don't think it would have helped you to play summer high school ball, to be honest, because I think you would have dominated. But do you think playing in the college league, because of your advance, being on the mound, your advance on the mound, do you think that helped you out a lot with Butler?
Yes.
It also let me know that in certain situations that just because I could throw 90, 91, it doesn't mean that I have to do that every single time.
Right.
Mixing up speeds. Being a 0 or a 2-0 count, I could throw a changeup. Like, it doesn't always have to be a fastball count. Because back in high school, I could just literally go 60 straight fastballs and be perfectly fine.
So what's your expectations of Butler this year?
I think we'll be very good. Obviously, not knowing how other groups are going to come together. But I like the group of guys we have. We have a lot of chemistry already built up with COVID, since we didn't have all the extra practices. We could all hang out at the apartments inside the dorms, so we kind of all have that team chemistry. So I do believe our record will be good.
Yeah, I know the Jayhawks very tough.
Very.
My kids went through it, and Region 6 tournament is as good as it gets.
Yeah.
There's so much talent out there. So how do you prepare yourself for that long season? How do you get prepared?
Honestly, arm care. Obviously, being a pitcher and an outfielder, I'm going to be doing a lot of the both. So whether it's throwing 60 pitches on the mound or doing 2 or 3 crow hops right afterwards, I have to do a lot of band work. I do a lot of swimming, so it opens up a lot more. Just staying healthy, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How do you prepare before a game?
Usually being more relaxed. So whether it's listening to music, hacky sack, I don't know, just staying focused. There's a lot of people that do a lot of different things. I just have one focus, and I just want to win.
Right.
So what do you do, or what could you advise some players that are in your shoes right now or getting ready to be in your shoes? What could they do to separate themselves from that next person that's pretty equal to them?
Definitely being in shape. So coming in, obviously, I've been athletic, growing up from a young age.
Right.
Being able to come in, just because if you're the same athletic ability as somebody else, if you're able to do that one extra sprint, that one extra 30 seconds of abs or something at the end, that catches the coach's eyes. So definitely being in shape would be one of the biggest things I'd say.
All right. Younger players that are heading into high school. So think about when you were getting ready to be a freshman, going into campus. What advice do you have to those kids that are coming that want to play high school baseball and play varsity? Because it's not easy to play varsity as a freshman, depending on what school you go to. And I definitely know campus is the same way. Mm-hmm. What advice would you have that you could give to them to prepare to be ready for high school?
Show it all off. Come in, be able to do every position. Don't just limit yourself to, I'm a second baseman. Be that second shortstop. Play right field, pitch, catch. Do more than one position, and then be able to have that second attribute of hitting, of course, because obviously runs win games. So being able to hit is what will make you play.
Okay.
So that leads me into my next question. Now that you've seen a fall, a condensed type of fall for the Jayhawk, what could you tell our freshmen or class of 21 that are getting ready to come in? What do they need to do to get ready for college?
Well, one, stay on grades, of course. Grades will help you out on the baseball field, of course. But for two, just working hard. It's so much more fast-paced. There's not one point of you're just sitting around. So whether it's you're shagging balls, take it like a real thing. Because I know in high school, if you're shagging balls, you're kind of just sitting here talking to your friends. There's none of that. It's a live game even in BP. So coming in and just understanding the game, knowledge is a huge thing in college.
So I say this all the time to a lot of our players. No one gives a crap if you were All-State.
Yeah.
No one cares. You're 6A Player of the Year. Anybody give a crap at Butler?
There's a couple people, local guys, of course, that if something happens and of course it goes the wrong way for me, like just say I miss a ball or something, they'll be like, oh, that didn't happen in high school, did it? That's just something you got to eat. But yeah, for sure, that's the first thing that Coach McVay and Sanagorski had said. Close the yearbook, come in and prove everybody that you can do it in both college and high school.
Right.
So for sure, nothing's really brought up ever about high school. Nobody cares about state tournaments, none of that stuff. So it's all just focused on college in itself then.
And again, I'm not trying to discredit anything, any accomplishments that were made. People that made the All-State team or make the All-League team and All-Region team, they probably well deserve it, but I just want people to understand that
Oh, for sure.
getting to college, everybody did it.
Exactly.
So nobody really
Everyone's
cared.
the best at their high school that's playing in
should
college
be.
ball. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So overall, is there any one thing that you would tell players, not just school, being in shape, is there anything else that you would add to give them some, another added advantage?
One thing that I could say is showing up way before the time. So when the coaches say be there at 3 o'clock, it doesn't mean show up at 2:40 and then you're putting on all your stuff. It's be there at 2:30 with your stuff on. That's huge because at Butler anyways, we hit in the cage or we hit in the shuttle before practice. We take ground balls way before some people I'd even get there. So depending on how your classes are set, definitely showing up way before.
Okay. It's good advice. Good advice.
So who's your favorite Major League Baseball team?
Of course, I got to go with the Royals because I'm from Kansas City. I don't watch much MLB because it's kind of slow. Like if I'm in there, like at the game, I can perfectly understand it. But I'm more of a football guy when it comes to pro sports. So
Okay.
Who's your favorite player?
Alex Gordon.
Why is that?
Well, growing up, I mean, he's obviously played since I was little, and he just retired. But yeah, watching him, especially from his younger age in the MLB to now, how much he's even grown in the 15 years that he played.
Right.
It's exciting. I mean, obviously he's one of the best outfielders that's played for the Royals or in the league, period. So having the athletic ability to the arm strength, to be able the range, it's fun to watch.
And it goes back to what you said earlier with tryouts, being able to play different positions. He came in as a third baseman, goes to left field.
Yep.
There's so many players like a Chipper Jones. When he came in, he was an outfielder or a third baseman, moved to the outfield, back to third base.
Yeah, and there's many people in the MLB now they'll be in a second one series, they'll be in left one series.
But Merrifield.
Yep.
Well, that's good. What is one thing that's interesting about you that not a lot of people know?
I mean, a lot of people know it if you were to count friend group wise, but fishing. Fishing is probably, if I wouldn't say baseball is the top thing, fishing would be probably my next top priority. So
Next time. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, Tanner, I wish you the best of luck this summer, or this season, and this summer since you're playing back at Rose Hill again.
Yep.
I do hope you guys do well. I'm kind of partial to the Hutch Blue Dragons because that's where my kids played. So hopefully those games are really good. Hope you guys compete. Again, going back to the Jayhawk, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's a fight. Yep, it's a fight every game. Every team in there is very compatible. So it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough. And I wish you the best of luck. I want you to stay healthy, be ready to go in the summer. and be ready to rock and roll this season too. Oh, get your grades too. Get a degree while you're there,
For
right?
sure.
Yes. Okay. Well, that concludes this week in baseball. I want to thank our production manager Brandon Green for producing today's show. Have a nice day.